Hey everybody, look, I'm back for the finale episode of Ready to Love, season 9, episode 12. When I tell y'all I am mad, oh, I'm mad, baby. I am so pissed off about all of this stuff, and y'all know why. But I'm really trying to keep it together because this shouldn't be called the finale. It should be called Pump Bitch. You know what? I'm gonna try to keep it together because it's Holy Week. All right, so they have a barbecue. LaRon is telling Chaz what happened between him and Maya at the club, the story we've heard already. Maya and LaRon hung out outside the process, even though they weren't supposed to. I didn't know that. Because I figured that's why everybody was texting and stuff. But anyway, Chaz asked him, did he apologize to Maya in a heartfelt way? The same thing he tried to tell him when he was falling out with Koshia or whatever. Chaz said, did you tell her how you felt and why? He said he shouldn't have to. Chaz was like, no, that's not how it works. And see, the problem is, Chaz, neither did you. Okay, but I'm getting there. So him and Maya sit down. Okay, after he been, running his mouth. He tells her that basically she shouldn't go to a club to meet people. I was like, bruh, since when? And she already knew him. So what are you talking about? And yes, people go to clubs to meet people. And she's not your girlfriend, you what? Anyway, so whether this happened on camera or not, or why they were doing this process or not, that's the kind of person he is. It doesn't matter. All right. He said he didn't want another guy up in her ear, and he wasn't gonna look like a simp. But you did look like one when you started calling her out of her name in the club, and didn't address that man to man, which is what abusive men do. They scared to go hard with a man and didn't want to treat a woman like trash. No. All right. Blame it on the woman because they are insecure, okay? And Maya was right. She shouldn't have to be emotionally abused every day to make LaRon feel more secure. And he insisted that this was all about her and her fault. LaRon, go to hell. Go to hell. I'm glad y'all did hang out outside of this process so you could distance yourself, Maya, because he is no good and you are above it. LaRon stomps off like a child when they have the little talk at the patio table when Maya should have been the one stomping off in the first place. And everybody's at the picnic tables watching all of this go down. Nobody really knows. Nobody's really intervening. Okay, granted, and it's not everybody's battle to fight, but it was looking a mess. And them baked beans looked like they were just had too much water in it or something. Anyway, it's supposed to be thick. It's supposed to put syrup in there. All right. Maya said she was over the process when Tommy called them all together. And Mika basically looks at LeBron and goes, did you know she was going to say that? You know he didn't know. Anyway, and Tommy asked her to come up front in front of everybody at the barbecue. Now, I know Tommy had some idea of what happened, okay? Because I know them production cameras are everywhere. And I think it's dangerous to force a conversation where Maya is clearly articulating that it was toxic and she felt unsafe, as she did in the lounge. And you had heard this before. So every abusive man apologizes after he causes some BS, okay, and then goes back to it. Maya is too beautiful and smart, and I want you to flourish, baby girl. Maya says she's at the end of the road, and I said, good for you. So LaRon leaves the process because she leaves it. He was on here to get attention in the first place. You're still not cute. Nobody's running after you like that. Oh my gosh, I am so tired of black men disrespecting black women like this on TV. Good for you, Maya. Next. So Chaz is also at the barbecue. Y'all, when I tell y'all, help me, Lord. And he's sitting at the table with Vanessa and Patrice. Patrice is like, are you trying to keep me and Vanessa sister wives or what's up? And Chaz was like, well, it's hard sitting with both of them. And he was like, well, there are decisions to be made on all of our parts or whatever. All right. So Patrice, honestly, to me, you look bad as somebody who was cool or seemed actually very cool with Vanessa through most of this process until they got to the getaway house or whatever. And connecting with Chaz and leaving Alonzo at the table just looked like a mess to me. You look disinterested. I can tell you're not feeling Chaz. She was trying to stay on the show, I guess. Anyway, I honestly liked Vanessa and Chaz together. And as I was watching this, I was like, if he pummels this, he deserves the bad that comes with it. But I didn't know how bad he was going to deserve it. Anyway, so the last assignment is for the gentlemen to introduce their connections to their families. Chaz is introducing his brother to Patrice and Vanessa. So he first introduces his brother to Patrice. His brother is in law enforcement and he hopes he can sniff stuff out. And I'm like, what the hell? Why do you, huh? At 47 years old, you're not discerning enough to know what you like and don't like. That's why you're not married. And seriously, a man, a black man in the South who has money and things like that, you can't find anybody. Something is very wrong with you, sir. Very. And let me tell y'all my mantra for life, okay, that I live by. Never trust a black cop. I don't care if he's high ranking in the military. I don't care if he's working on the street. Any black person that can put on a fucking cop uniform or military uniform who's not rank and file and who was not drafted, who wasn't trying to pay for their college education and just straight up added choices and just continues to do that is not to be trusted. I don't care. I said what I said. He asked Patrice a lot of questions. And he seems to like Patrice. Chaz asked her in front of his brother if her mind is set at this point, and she says no. And that's the confusing part. At this point, both of y'all sound like two people who aren't serious, Chaz and Patrice. Because to not be able to make up your mind 6 weeks with these same people to choose from, and it's just giving ridiculous. Patrice is 42 and he's 47. I have no patience. Okay, the brother says that Patrice seems very sincere and genuine and that there's nothing fake or phony. I was like, the fact that she acting like she like Chaz is fake or phony just so she can make it to the end and get advertisement for these buses or whatever she has. And Chaz keeps saying, well, keep that in mind with Vanessa because Patrice made him second guess his connection with Vanessa. Chaz, baby, you ain't worth the dirt under my shoe. Oh, did Rashina make you second guess it? Did Mika make you second guess it until they self-eliminated? Don't play with me. Don't. And don't play with Vanessa like that. So Justin invites his brother to meet Mika. Mika's servant looks as always. You could tell the brother was feeling Mika too. So she asked his brother, she asked questions. He was like, just be ready. So she asked him about his last relationship and then she was getting those questions in. His brother asked Mika if she wants more kids and she said possibly. And Justin was like, even I was shocked. He said, because that's different from the beginning. You know, I told her I was okay if I didn't have kids. And she said she wasn't willing to do it for somebody who wasn't the right person, so on and so forth. And I think that's nice. I think that's nice. I still think Mika's the kind that will leave him for a baller in a second, but that's just me. The brother pulled Justin's whole card down. And he said, it seems, she seems to like and want to be with you and settle down, but are you ready for it? Because if you're not, you can really screw that up. And that was honest. And that's what a big brother should tell him. Okay? So Alonzo brings his cousin to meet Busybody Patrice. And yes, I'm calling her Busybody because her and Chaz. But I'm not really pissed with Patrice, but I am pissed with Chaz. I'm getting there. Woo, baby, 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 baby. He describes Patrice as the female version of him. Patrice asked him about a house and his long-term relationship goals. She says she hasn't lived in an apartment in 15 years. And Chaz already has a house. And I was like, girl, this seems really shallow. Not because I don't think you should have expectations for a man, but after you saw his house, even when she sat down with him on the getaway, she was like, well, I knew we could connect once I saw your house. And I was like, and he was like, well, I think we could connect on our businesses. And I'm like, both of y'all are whack because this process is almost over. And it was just giving, I never thought Patrice was into him. Patrice is just like the bad girl. And I just feel like he was trying to antagonize the fuck out of Vanessa. And he clearly, never mind. First of all, Alonzo and Patrice are 11 years apart. I am a firm believer that dating younger men, I'm sure there are exceptions, don't get me wrong. But dating younger men does not work out for women. It doesn't. They mature too slowly. And as we see with the preview for next week, I'm right. So Chaz and his brother are going to meet Vanessa. Was it me or did Vito's Pizzeria seem like a cheap choice? I found that disrespectful, the cheap choice. I don't know about it, but most Vito's I've seen are not like nice sit-down restaurant places, whatever. So he's telling his brother that she's a nice woman, but she doesn't seem to see or believe how I feel about her. I was like, because you decided to pursue another woman on that trip. You were pursuing 4 out of the 5 women on that trip alone. Mika and Rashina had to drop you on their own. And her and Patrice were kind of friends. What do you mean you don't understand why she wouldn't believe that? That's why. She's not asking for a lot at this point in the finale. Are you kidding me? To his brother's point, he was like, well, that doesn't give me a reason to call him the cavalry. I mean, like, you know, whatever. Like, yeah, some women are going to feel like that. And in this process, what do you expect? So then he brings up that she doesn't like dogs. Chaz, if that was that big of a deal to you, because now it seems like you grasping at straws to not deal with the fact that Vanessa calls you out on your stuff. Okay, which is why you're a 47-year-old man with no woman and a big house and no family. And I realized that he had a child that passed away, so I'm not trying to, but it's giving this is who you are and this is who you performed as on television. And I'm still trying to figure out all these businesses he has when he's a senior data management person, which is fine. But we haven't heard anything about these businesses. Everybody claims they're entrepreneur nowadays. Anyway, so Chaz barely lets Vanessa sit down. I mean, really, barely lets her sit down before he says, well, I've said a lot of wonderful things about you. But then follows it up and brings up the lake house and where he's crying in his room. And he left all the people that rode with him in that car. No, I ain't forgot that. I came with you. I leave with you. Stop playing with me. That was irresponsible. And that was some whack kind of manipulative stuff too. All right, boo. Get out of here with that. We don't want to hear nothing else about that. That was all you choosing to do that. Wasn't nothing in that house that hostile that you had to leave, except for situations that you created. So he said that in that moment he felt hurt and said he would have liked her to ask if he was okay. She is literally sitting down with you, saying in the calmest voice, like right now there's poor women that are confused. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. She's trying to have a conversation with him. And he's like, well, just stay in the moment. Just stay in the moment. You didn't tell her anything other than I'm feeling overwhelmed. And you expected her to be emotionally manipulated by the fact that you're acting like a bitch. And she wasn't. And good for Vanessa. Because it takes a long time for a woman, well, at least I can speak for myself. I didn't come to the kind of emotional maturity I have now and discernment when it comes to men overnight. And I'd be a liar to sit here and try to act like, oh yeah, I always knew somebody was, no. And to trust that intuition. Because I was doubting my own intuition. And I know it takes a lot of growth. And Vanessa has done that. And good for her. And I really admire Vanessa. I actually think Vanessa is, I really hope we see her again. I don't care if I see her on the plane. Because I'm going to tell her, girl, I'm with you. Anyway, so I was like, how was she supposed to know to ask if you were hurt? You stormed out of there saying, I'll go home, I don't care. Okay, so that meant you kind of blowing her off too. You stormed past Rashina and Maya, who were both confused. Maya, who wasn't checking for you. Rashina, who was checking for you. They didn't understand that either. And apparently, and like, you're just giving, I was just thinking, you bitch you. Like, then Vanessa, true to form, strong and dignified, okay, was like, he felt hurt as she was talking to his brother, but he didn't consider that he hurt the women he was connected with as well when that happened. So the brother says, well, didn't you have other suitors? And she says, yeah, there was another guy. And he said, well, that has to be brought to the dynamic. She said, well, 2 is not 10. And he looks at Chaz and he was like, well, that's a valid point. Said, okay. Chaz, why did you need your brother there to tell Vanessa how you were feeling? Instead of saying that on your date last episode. Instead of saying, Vanessa, look, when that happened, I really just wish you would have asked me how I was doing. Because I was really just kind of spiraling at that point. Why did you need to do that in front of your brother? That gives me bitch. That gives me I can't do anything unless there's other people around watching because Vanessa is too smart for the bullshit. You up here holding her hand, but you was holding everybody's hand. You was laying in bed trying to hold Mika's hand. You was, holding Patrice's hand. It was just, there's some things that, yes, when you like a woman, you should only do for her. Okay? Chaz, I'm just, Cheese, okay, it's gonna be her name. So Chaz asked her if decision day was today, does she think she would say yes? And she was honest. She said, I don't know. I say yes, Vanessa, yes. Don't give him all of that kind of support. Hold your standards, okay? Then his brother tells her that her nails are so pretty. The same thing he told Patrice. I think they are the kind that just didn't grow up around a lot of women. And for some reason, they only know how to give basic compliments. Like Chaz can just go around holding women's hand, thinks it's going to work. He can say their nails are nice and clap. It's just weird. Anyway, so they obviously come from a weird kind of family. Anyway, so Chaz asked about the women. His brother was not that insightful. That's all I'm going to say. His brother says Patrice radiates positive energy and that Vanessa could be the woman for him, but there's room for improvement. Well, there's room for improvement for your face, Tracy, okay? Sirs, houseway. Patrice has positive energy because her and Chaz haven't had any history over the past 6 weeks, haven't seen each other the way Vanessa and Chaz were seeing each other. And he's been trying Vanessa and gaining women toward the end of the process, as opposed to limiting women. by Chaz and Tracy. Okay, both of y'all go bump purses. Anyway, it seems like Chaz is asking the women about their decisions though at this point to avoid being embarrassed on TV, and that's whack. So Chaz is complaining about how complicated it has been, and I'm like, but you made it more complicated. You started adding women. Like in the process at that lake house, like Justin was very clear, very respectful when he told Rashina, I'm moving on with Mika, but I want to thank you because I know we had, dates and things like that. And Rashina was happy for them. They were able to actually sit down as adults. He didn't disrespect her. He didn't claim it was on her. He didn't do any of that. And Justin got the nerve to be the finest one and the nicest one out the crew. How? How? Anyway, so he comes with grocery store flowers, and that to me was a tip off. I already knew because I had seen him bring much nicer, longer stemmed flowers and better looking wrap bouquets. Now I don't care. Production gave it to Alonzo and to Justin. They weren't known for bringing people flowers. That wasn't their thing. So I felt like already that was a tip off that Chaz was about to disrespect her somehow. So he comes with these grocery store flowers. I guess because he's mad she didn't do cartwheels over the 2 bouquets he bought her that she didn't ask for that he brought up last week. Okay, anyway, he asked her about the process and how it's been for her as they're sitting down. And she says she thinks he's a really great guy, but she feels she has constantly watched him choose himself in the process. And he has. Because at the point that y'all made it to the lake house and Justin made a clear decision as to who he was with, how Alonzo had really, whether we find out later stuff about Alonzo, because I can tell you his type anyway, the bottom line was he wasn't going around flirting with every woman. He was having fun. But it was clear he was there for Patrice. Hell, at least if you on camera have sense enough to do that as the time winds down. He wasn't trying to push up on Maya and Rashid. They were having fun together, but like it wasn't like that. So anyway, he disagrees and says a relationship isn't just about what she wants. You're absolutely right, Chaz. But it's not just about what you want either as you go from chick to chick to chick. And he says, well, you have a great understanding of what you want, but you don't have grace for a man like him. No. She doesn't have time for a 47-year-old man who's 13 years older than her, who is unavailable to make a decision and say, yes, I'm with you. I realize that. No, because her and her sister called you out when she was like, you didn't get caught in the tornado of connections. You pursued that. And you pursued it toward the end. It was even clear to the people on that cast who kept pointing out, like, yeah, you could tell their personalities are a lot alike. They like each other, this, that, and the other. And it was really whack. And I think Chaz originally took Vanessa's kind of even-tempered approach, not because she's not emotionally intelligent, but kind of as weakness. And he didn't know what he was getting into. Go off, Vanessa. Go off. Okay? So she said, for that reason, I choose myself. And he says, well, I'm glad you said that because I was going to say the same thing. Okay. Whatever, you bitch, you. He said, you're not somebody that I can love. Now, see, that, to me, I said, hold up. Hold up. I was really hurt for her in that moment because I felt like that was so disrespectful, rude. She had never said, I love you. They had never said they loved each other. There was no reason for you to carry on like that. Okay? And he wasn't done disrespecting her and disrespecting her in public and in front of people. Okay? He said, you're not somebody I can love. And I'm like, I'm confused. You have gone through this process all over Vanessa throughout the entire process, at least keeping her there. And she has dealt as best she could with the other connections. And you tell her that she is not somebody that you could love. That was cruel. And it was purposeful. And it was thought out. You punk motherfucker. And after you texted her after that dinner, she was like, well, it seemed like a reset. He was like, hello, beautiful. Anyway, I'm disappointed. I really actually thought these two could work if there was anybody that could work. And I actually was holding it till now because I thought Chaz may have just been taking on other connections because production was like, look, we need more of a show. And then they had told him not to tell Vanessa, all that kind of crazy stuff. But he's a fucking low down, dirty piece of shit asshole. To say to her, to gaslight Vanessa, which means you called it right at the lake house, and say she wasn't emotionally stable, that she was jealous. Well, first of all, anybody who is seeing somebody, yeah, we'll get uncomfortable seeing you with other women. She wasn't fucking going off, calling you a bitch and carrying on this, that, and the other. Like, I'm calling you right now. And like LaRon was calling Maya. No, she had the right to feel that way. She didn't go cursing Patrice out, Rashina out. She can still sit down with them. And anybody's going to be visibly bothered over time if you care about somebody. Oh my gosh, that shit was pissing me off. And then he said, and you don't like my dog. Bitch, she said she didn't like animals. She said she can only really handle her kids. It's not that she hates animals. Well, Nola's not going anywhere. You knew that from the first time Vanessa told you that. You gonna bring that shit back up after you've dragged her through this? No, you're a piece of shit. That's why you don't have anybody. And it's clear. Because even if you are gay or bisexual, you could still find somebody to cut. You have this house and everything. No, you're not a good person, Chaz. And you showed it. And that quote unquote good guy stuff is always, I'm not saying you don't want somebody respectful. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that overly good guy, oh, so nice to women to only hurt them. When he said she wasn't, what she said, she didn't like his dog and his dog wasn't going anywhere. I said, huh? Vanessa, in comparison to a dog, first of all, is already a problem to me. That you putting this as an either or. Then he doubles down and says, I brought sunflowers because I know you like them. But I also brought you a dead flower out of this cheap ass bouquet because my feelings for you have withered and died. You can tell she was like shocked and offended. It was like a nervous smile. But she kept a brave face, and she kept a brave face once again because she has learned not to let people get under her skin or appear under her skin. But I was disgusted. And she would have been, let me tell you something, to call her jealous after you made a scene over and over again, sucking strawberries out of these people's mouths, so on and so forth. I would have never, Vanessa, taken those flowers from him and just walked off. But I may have taken those fucking flowers and thrown them bitches right into that fucking lake and said, fuck you. Because at that point, he deserved it. You didn't owe him a goddamn thing. But I'm proud of you, girl, because I know that you kept it together as a mother and as a woman who kept her standards intact. And I know that's why he hates you. And we've seen black men do this to black women over and over again. And that shit is pissing me the fuck off. It is pissing me the fuck off that they so actively, strategically, and regularly do this. Not just on reality TV, in real life. And then you wonder why we're leaving y'all alone. Anyway. Oof. So Justin and Mika, who I think are cute together, but I wasn't convinced of their chemistry. They're both beautiful. They meet up and they're both nervous. He brings cheap flowers too. But once again, we're not used to seeing him bring flowers, so it didn't seem like an automatic disrespect. And production said, here, choose him. So Justin tells her that he chooses her clearly, effectively, and says it feels like love. But she was like, oh, I'm on the spot. You know, because everybody doesn't throw that word around. They shouldn't. She wrote him a letter that sounded like wedding vows, honestly. She tells him she chooses him and just doesn't want him to self-sabotage and trust that when she has him, she has him. And I thought that was cute because I didn't see them together permanently. I really didn't. I really didn't see that coming. Just because I think Mika just looks like she, you know, is very high maintenance. But it was nice. And it was nice to watch two people, I don't know, demonstrate respect for each other. So Patrice meets with both Alonzo and Chaz to talk to them. Alonzo is nervous. Okay. I didn't think she was going to choose him. So he was still talking about how Chaz had, you know, all these things and he's hard to compete with. He has that house. He said when he saw it, he was like, ugh, you know. So Chaz, when he meets up with Patrice, he like kind of shakes her hand, like puts his hand up to like shake it. It was weird. And he tells Patrice, you know, look, you rose above all the other women because she prayed for him when he had that fucking moment at the lake house. First of all, you weren't even talking to them. You didn't tell anybody you were leaving. Patrice, after she got done crying over William or Will, whatever he went by, you know, we should have kept him on and got rid of Chaz. She just happened to be upstairs, and you know, production said, well, you know, Chaz is in the room. Then she goes in there and insists on praying for him. I was like, you ignored everybody else. Stop trying to make that about everybody else but you. He told her that he chose her and he chooses, you know, them. Alonzo tells Patrice straight up that he chooses her too. Of course, till the end, Alonzo was not, at least clearly to the eye, making us believe anything else. So Patrice was like, look, Chaz, you check off all my boxes, but look, we don't have a spark. And she doesn't want to be with him. And I said yes, just to see Chaz get fucking embarrassed on TV. You's a bitch, motherfucker. Okay? So he takes one rose and claims he's going to pray over it and water it. The same thing that he said he was like, God is the sunlight, he was the soil, and Vanessa didn't water me. How are you going to call her jealous? And she stuck with you throughout this process despite your bullshit. And she's the one that did. I said, Ninja, you are 47 years old. He might be 48 now because this is taped ahead of time. And I'm so glad Patrice turned him down. I tried to really give Chaz benefit of the doubt because I really thought him and Vanessa seemed like two of a kind. He's a fucking asshole. And I hope the internet gets his fucking ass together and allow me to begin the train. Okay? To roll over his punk ass. Anyway, so Patrice chose Alonzo. I would have never guessed that this would have ended this way. Honestly, a house is something you can buy. You can't buy chemistry. You just can't. That's what you get, Chaz. I never saw, and that's the reason why I said I never saw it is because I never saw Alonzo actually even making it to the end. I thought they would have gotten rid of him. So, yeah, this season was good. Now, the flash forward, Alexis, you were just as crazy as I thought, actually crazier. I don't think Vanessa should be forced to sit beside sorry ass Chaz. Apparently, Alonzo has been cheating the whole time. But I don't know how we can be cheating and nobody was married to anybody. Wasn't that what LaRon said and everybody agreed to it? And no, I don't really feel much for you, Patrice. But I'm glad you embarrassed Chaz. And so that's my piece. I hope y'all have a happy Easter. I'll talk to y'all soon.